Welcome to the College Football Show, the George Wrighster podcast, former NFL player, former all-conference college football player, and college football analyst on your TV and on your YouTube as well. Thank you for joining me and being one of us. So today, the Michigan punishment is going to drop on Friday about the Connor Stallions sign stealing. We got to delve all into that and what the punishment should be versus what it is going to be. And apparently, there is crying aloud in football, and we love it. And also, what can $300 million buy you? Because a lot of people think that, oh, if you have a big donor, that's going to turn into instant success. There is data that proves otherwise. And what is going on with Lane Kiffin and Hugh Freeze? Because they keep jabbing at each other, and we got to talk about who's winning that one. And we also have to talk about the 10 things, the 10 things I am looking forward to in week 1 of college football, which is right around the corner. I'm feeling the juice. Make sure that you guys like, subscribe, get notifications, and tell a friend about the show. Keep coming back and be one of us, because sports is explained simply, it is explained honestly, and of course, most of all, without no bias, we're going to give you the truth. And of course, you know, the things you hear on Unafraid show here on the George Wrighster podcast are the things that everybody else will be talking about 2 weeks from now. So that's why you come here. All right, we're going to start with the Michigan Wolverines. Their punishment for their sign stealing scandal with Connor Stallions is going to be announced by the NCAA on Friday. So we are literally going on 2 years. 2 years. And now all of a sudden we are going to get the punishment. Now, what is the punishment going to be versus what it should be? Because right now, when teams get put under investigation, that's really the only punishment that there has. It is right now. You got Michigan under investigation, Tennessee for the McDonald's bag money, and then you got ASU for the stuff that Herm Edwards did. And you got a whole new coach at ASU, whole new coach at Tennessee for multiple years. And now we just getting the punishment? Do you how insanely crazy that is? And we're not talking about how the NFL has a situation where somebody has legal penalties and they have to wait until the legal system adjudicates everything to delve out punishment. But you know what they do? They're like, we got a video of this. This commissioner's exemplars. We not fooling with you right now. And a lot of these times there is smoking guns. So why does it need to take 2 years for punishment to be dealt out? So the question is, what should the punishment be? Honestly, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what it should be, because that ship has sailed. The national championship happened. We've already seen it. Because I hate the idea of, oh, we're going to take back those wins, those retroactive wins. How? We all saw it. I saw Reggie Bush win his Heisman Trophy. Yeah, it's nice that you gave it back to him, but I saw it happen. It didn't erase it from any college football fan's mind, or that USC won the national championship that year. That's not out of anybody's mind. So what should happen, it don't even matter. What is going to happen is that the people who are there at Michigan now, they are going to deal with the effects that they had nothing to do with. Let me repeat that. The people who are at Michigan now, yes, I know Sharon Moore is there and he's been suspended and all of this stuff. And there are a couple of people that are there that were involved on some level. But the vast majority of them are gone and never coming back to college football. Do you think Jim Harbaugh is coming back to college football? No. So the idea that there is something that is going to be punitive to the people who did it, oh, they go, oh, you're going to give them a 10-year show cause penalty. No. No. Think about this like the Spygate with the Patriots. They got a chance to keep all their wins, keep titles, keep the Super Bowl. You had a $500,000 fine for Bill Belichick. 250 for the team, and they lost a first round draft pick. Do you know what that is compared to a Super Bowl? That is a slap on the wrist. And that is exactly what is going to happen to Michigan. They are going to get hit with all these penalties, but they still got a chance to win a national championship. Even if you air quote take it back, we all saw it. We know what happened. So if this is why the NCAA, well, excuse me, why college football in particular and college sports in general needs the College Sports Commission or some other entity to have real punishment power. That way it can get dealt with immediately. That way, before the college football playoff starts, you can say, nah, Michigan is ineligible to play in it because of this. And Michigan fans will say, well, Connor Stallions was gone. So everything was fine after that. No. Look at the TCU game in the college football playoff. TCU's offense that year, yes, they were good under Sonny Dykes. They were good. But this was not the same offense that was running up and down the field against Michigan because TCU found out that Michigan was stealing signs and they switched theirs up and they played the gamesmanship. Big play, big play, big play. Oh, so yeah, it still did matter. Exactly. So you can sit up here and try to tell me that it was no big deal, but as a former football player, and seeing how detailed and smart Connor Stallions was with it, it was a definite advantage. And then you hear everybody was doing it. Everybody advanced scouts on some level, but there is a difference in what Michigan was doing and what most other teams were doing. And last year, there was a game, and I'm going to tell you this, there was a game last season where there was a team that was on the opposing team sideline, and the ball boys were communicating with the other side with Apple Watches, talking about stuff that they were hearing on this side of the field. It was a big deal at halftime, everything else, and now these coaches don't like each other. Maybe I'll reveal who that is at some point in time, but that's what happened last season. So yes, there is gamesmanship, people trying to get advantages all over the place, but what Michigan did was highly excessive. And think about what the NFL did when it had the massive perception problem of lawlessness and players just doing any old thing, domestic violence. Roger Goodell was given power by the owners to punish people directly. But the difference here in college football is the institutions are responsible for player discipline, and they are policing of the actual institutions is nightmarishly slow. That is the issue that we are dealing with, people. All right, the next thing that we got to talk about. And you guys leave in the comments what you think Michigan's punishment is going to be and what it should be. All right, the next thing that we got to talk about is, you know that from A League of Their Own, there's no crying in baseball. Well, there is crying in football, and I love it. And I love it. But the internet has actually been brutal. And I think that it is the most insane thing that I have seen. And well, not the most, but one of the most insane things. It's like there's no human element to this anymore. So there is an Australian punter named Archie Wilson, who, if you notice the name, Australian punter, who's playing college football for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. He's a world away from his family. And the internet comments have been brutal. I thought we would have learned from the Caleb Williams situation, but this is totally different. Where he lost the game, hopped in the stands with his mom. And as a man, we got to be okay with expressing our emotions. So this man was up there on the press conference, and I'm going to let you see what happened because he was emotional talking about his family and being far away from them.
I got two little brothers, my mum and dad, and yeah, that's the tough part about being here. I love them a lot, and I miss them. But I mean, they know this is what's best for me, and it's good. They're of the fun, and they're coming here to see the first few games. So.
What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Like we gotta normalize it being okay because as much as men don't cry, man, you be sitting up there crying when you are all by yourself, when you are all by your lonesome, nobody else knows about it, and your feelings are hurt. If you were a world away from your family, the kid is actually doing something to better his life. And yes, it is hard, but the idea that the internet is out here making fun of this dude for being vulnerable and being real, all right. I guess some of y'all are just so tough that y'all can be away from your family for months and it don't hurt. I know people in our military, our servicemen and women, been over 15 military bases around the world. And you know what? They will all talk about how hard it is being away from your family. So kudos to this kid. I love the vulnerability. Archie, don't listen to these fools. Keep it up and have a great season, man. And hopefully you get a chance to see your family even more than you thought you did. All right, next thing up. What happens when you get $300 million? What can $300 million buy you in college football? Well, that is the question that the Kansas Jayhawks have to answer now because this is a program that has been perpetually the doormat, well, one of the doormats of college football. You got like of major conferences. You got Vanderbilt, and then a few rungs above, you got Kansas. Yes, Kansas has had some good seasons. They put some players in the NFL, but nobody is scared of Kansas in general. They're scared of Kansas in basketball, but it is a basketball school. Well, now a Kansas graduate named David Booth, he has gifted the Kansas athletic department $300 million. This dude is the chairman of Dimensional Fund Advisors, and he previously kicked Kansas $9 million in 2004 to fund the Booth Family Hall of Athletics. See, look, you got to put your name on the building, and then also with the Allen Fieldhouse as well, and then $50 million a decade ago for football stadium renovations. So this man is committed to it. And people always talk about, oh, well, if you got a billionaire owner or billionaire guy, then you should be great. Are we sure about that? Because we are in the era of haves and have nots. So it has never been more important for schools to develop and maintain relationships with their most successful alumni, which is crucial. Look at what's happening at Texas Tech with Cody Campbell. Texas Tech is on the come up because Cody Campbell is committed. This ain't a money making investment for Cody Campbell. This is where his heart is. Maybe he gets some additional business opportunities because Texas Tech people are like, this is our guy. We doing business with Cody because he's helping us. And look at what's happened at Oregon with Phil Knight. Miami, same thing. And there have been other schools as well that have a single large primary donor. And yes, I know that all of those schools that I just named have other significant donors. They absolutely do. But the one helps prime them for success. But that person also has to have the vision and the wherewithal when to stay out of the way. See, you want to be more like Phil Knight, who is still involved, knows everything that's going on, knows everything's going on with the recruits, who's coming, who's going, who they're trying to get, everything else. And then you have the Jerry Joneses of the world that's tinkering, trying to do too much. But having a billionaire owner or donor, booster, whatever you want to call it, doesn't guarantee success. Look at Oklahoma State. If T. Boone Pickens was still alive, how would they do right now? Because he donated things, but Oklahoma State has fallen behind in the NIL game. He just passed before all of this change happened because Oklahoma State might be in a whole different spot. Mike Gundy might have been gone, or Mike Gundy may have had to adapt to the NIL era because he was like, I thought it was gonna go away. No, man, toothpaste don't go back in the tube. We all know this. Now, you could easily and feasibly see schools that never really were a contender in football that they could rise to the top with the financial support of just a few donors and their influence. Could you imagine a world where Harvard football could become the next James Madison? Because Wikipedia will tell you that Harvard has 188 billionaire graduates. Stanford is number 2 on that list with 74. And you know how many you need to make your football team great? 1. Now imagine if you get 2 or 3 of them that are invested in that. Just saying. And you can go buy you a team out of the transfer portal, high school players, entice players to leave, even though it's illegal. Everybody does it. Well, check this out. You have in NIU, Northern Illinois University's head coach, Thomas Hammock, the same guy that beat Notre Dame last year and gave Marcus Freeman a piece of advice when Marcus Freeman called him and was like, yo, how did you beat us? So here is his perspective on the transfer portal. Because remember, he is a team and a player he has players and he's a coach that his team got rated in the portal. And listen to what he had to say about it.
To be honest with you, I love the challenge. It don't bother me one bit. Life, you gonna make decisions, right? Sometimes it's gonna be your favor, sometimes not. I told our team we lost guys. Man, God, I'm going to transfer. How many of you guys play travel, get snaps? I was going to tweet something the other day. I enjoyed my college experience. I didn't get one dime. I learned more valuable and I appreciate it because that's the short term. I go to the national 5 years, 5 years, right?
This man could not be any more right. He could not be any more right with what he was saying. And I didn't put the clip up exactly. I'll show you the screenshot of it there, where he was talking in the press conference. And if you want to go see the tweet, it is it's courtesy of NIU Athletics, and it is attached to this tweet, which I'll put in the description as well. So this man is 100% right. 100% right. And I will say, there were some advantages that I got pre NIL era in college football. None, none that should have been violations by the NCAA. But the lessons that I learned in college, I was still a broke college student for the most part of it. The lessons that I learned in college, they were extremely valuable. And the way that I believe that we should look at this NIL situation, transfer portal, and all of this, because kids are getting paid now. These are the same the problems that the coaches are having now with players, where some of them get some money, they feel entitled, they think that they own the world. Do you know what those sound like? Those sound like rich kids. Those sound like rich kid problems. Those sound like the same problems that people with a lot of money have with their kids. Oh, how do I teach them the value of a dollar? How do I teach them to work hard? How do I teach them that way when they take over this family business, that they don't run it into the damn ground because they have not been taught the necessary things. It's like that quote that I love, and it like sits with me every day, and it's hard for me because when I think about my kids, and I think about that I have 3 sons, and I think about the quote that says, hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Easy times make weak men make hard times. So I came from hard times, made a strong man. And now I'm trying to, well, actually, I would even go back further. My dad came from hard times. He made a strong man. And now I had hard times, got a strong man. But my times were easier than my dad's. And now I'm trying to raise young men because I've created easy times, been blessed. Kids have things that I never had in my whole life. So I'm creating easy times. But how do I create strong men? By letting them have hard times. That's how. In the midst of these easy times. That way they don't turn their easy times into being weak men, and then weak men turning around and making hard times and blow everything that we have gotten. So that's that. All right. Next question. Why is Hugh Freeze getting bothered by Lane Kiffin? That is the question. So, Lane Kiffin, if you have followed him on social media at all, you already know that he is a menace on social media, an absolute menace, particularly on Twitter. Trolling everybody. When his name is up for jobs, he'll post things that are in the city that he's being rumored to and everything else. And lately, his next target, and we've seen him with Feinbaum and everything else. So his latest target is Hugh Freeze at Auburn specifically. Because earlier in this offseason, it came out how many rounds of golf that Hugh Freeze had been playing. And they said the team ain't been winning enough. They not recruiting well enough for him to be out playing no damn golf, right? So then Lane Kiffin, he then had something to say to the point where Kiffin was actually asked about going after Freeze at SEC Media Day. And here's what Lane Kiffin had to say.
Coming in here to me, I like Coach Freeze, so I think they think that that was something to do with like I was fishing, golfing. I really wasn't that. I have a thing with him going back a few years ago when he like posted a picture like in response to me of like some 2-pound bass or something like that. So I've kind of always posted bigger fish pictures back towards him. So I don't know. It sounds like he's doing amazing. So it's great.
First thing is, Lane Kiffin is actually hilarious for this. The reason why he's playing willful ignorance. I mean, I don't know. I think his golf game's great. It looks like he's doing a great job. You know what you're doing, Lane. And that's one of them. And he says it with a straight face. And you know that he's trolling people. So I actually got to find out for you guys if the coaches actually don't like Lane Kiffin or if they do like Lane Kiffin. So that's what happened with SEC Media Day, him jabbing at him. But then there was another jab because earlier this week a report came out that Auburn has I, what's the word? This is a disaster waiting to happen. Auburn has a disaster waiting to happen with the way that they're doing their checks and balances and their offensive strategy going into the 2025 season. Because the report came out this week and Lane Kiffin deserved to troll. Um, he deserved to troll Hugh Freeze after this. So here is the thing. So apparently, Auburn they are going to have 3 separate play callers. Do you know how hard it is to already have a co-DC, a co-OC, any of those things? You got to have one play caller. Anytime I've ever seen anybody like, yeah, we both call plays. Nah, man, somebody got to be in charge. Like, stop trying to spread the wealth around. Somebody got to be in charge. So here is what uh, Auburn is doing. Auburn is doing this nonsensical thing. So Derek Nix is calling plays on first down. Hugh Freeze is then calling plays on second down. And then you got Kent Austin calling plays on third down. And then Hugh Freeze can overrule a play call at any point in time. But they're all working together on play calling. Do you realize how insane it is? Because play calling is about sequencing. It is setting things up for later. Oh, yeah, I'm going to set up this second down call for later. No, the first down call sets up the second down call, sets up the third down call, and then you do the same thing again in the third, fourth quarter, but you put a variation on it, and then you get a big play. This is a disaster waiting to happen. I have no idea. Hugh Freeze is way too experienced, way too successful to be going about it like this. This reeks of desperation. Reeks of desperation. Now, and I understand being desperate because you have a worse record than the last coach that they fired at this point in time. So I get it. But here is what Lane Kiffin did on social media after that, and I loved it because this one's actually pretty hilarious. He said, so so does a coach call fourth down? So and that's a good question. Who is the coach for Auburn that is going to call the play on fourth down? Does it go back to Derek Nix again? Or does it go to Hugh Freeze because he's the head coach? Or does it go to Kent Austin? Come on, man. Who's the fourth down coach? Y'all leave it in the comments. Who's the fourth down coach at Auburn? And do you believe that this can be successful? Because I ain't never seen anything like this. This is insanity. Absolute insanity. So then my question was, is Lane Kiffin just having fun? Or is he a little bit bitter about something else that happened last week as well? So this happened as well because there was the top recruit in the state of Mississippi in the SIP. He made his commitment, and it was a little interesting. Oh man, do you know how much that hurts? Do you know how much that hurts when a kid pump fakes the hat like, yo, I'm going to Mississippi, I'm going to Ole Miss, I'm gonna get the fans what they want. Ha, psych, I'm going to Auburn. So maybe Lane Kiffin was a little bit upset about that. Never know. All right, the last thing that we got to talk about today is I cannot wait for college football to start. And so there are 10 things that I'm looking forward to in week one of college football. And week one, I mean from week 0 to week one. So we're talking August 23rd to September 1st. That is my version of week one because, listen, it ain't enough week 0 games and we are excited about it. So, you guys make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, and tell a friend about the Unafraid show and be one of us. And drop the things in the comments that you are most looking forward to in week one. And remember, it's your boy George Wrighster here. So the first thing that I am looking forward to in college football week one is a quarterback to rise to the challenge in Ireland because you got Kansas State and you got Iowa State. You got Rocco Beck versus Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson, and both of them have been very good. And most of the Big 12 quarterback hype has involved Josh Hoover or Sam Levitt or Sawyer Robinson over there at Baylor. And Beck and Johnson will actually have the stage all to themselves to kick off the season. And there is one team after the game that is going to get a leg up in Big 12 play and likely secure a spot as a top 15 team. Now, the question is, which Big 12 team will it be? And which Big 12 team is going to be able to compete for the rest of the season and look good enough to get multiple college football playoff spots? The second thing I'm looking forward to in the world of college football in week one is, can Boise State still run the rock without Ashton Jeanty? because on Thursday, August 28th, Boise State heads to South Florida, and they're going to be without the Raiders running back, Mr. Aston Jeanty, Heisman Trophy runner-up. Now, this is a sneaky good matchup because UCF has been dangerous under Alex Golish, and he's 14-12 in his last 2 seasons at the helm, which is crazy when you consider that he took over a program that was 4-30 under his predecessor, Jeff Scott. And it's not like Boise is coming in with far superior talent. These teams were ranked right next to each other in the 2025 247 rankings at 61 and 62. You got Sire Gaines. He's going to be a running back for Boise State. And it's his time to take the spotlight and continue the legacy of NFL backs that come out of that program. Because it ain't just been Aston Jeanty. You got Alexander Madison, George Halani, and you got the muscle hamster himself that used to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. So that's something to look forward to. Next thing I'm looking forward to in week 1 of college football is 2 quarterbacks on opposite ends of the hype machine. They are going to square off. So we got 2 quarterbacks, opposite sides. One is getting all the hype, and the other one, not any hype at all. And I'm talking about Dylan Raiola over there at Nebraska, who was the former #1 recruit in the nation by a lot of the services. And he's going to take on Brendan Sorsby over there at Cincinnati. Because remember, Sorsby used to be over there at Indiana. Because there is a lot of pressure on Dylan Raiola to look good in this game. Because he finished the season at Nebraska last year with 4 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in his last 8 games. And Nebraska, they went out and made Dana Holgorsen their offensive coordinator full time after the middle of last season. And they found some serious wide receiver talent in the portal to support the former #1 recruit in the nation. Meanwhile, on the other side of the tracks, you got Brendan Sorsby, because he had found himself on the back end of a lot of Big 12 quarterback lists, despite having like just all the tangibles. NFL size, and he's got the ability to run the football as well. And if Brendan Sorsby, if he outperforms Raiola in this game, it might finally earn him some respect. But neither quarterback or program can go out or afford to have that offense that cannot move the football, because that won't be good. The next thing I'm looking forward to is the post-Shedeur and Travis Hunter era at Colorado and what Deion is going to do with the Buffs. Because Colorado gets a home game with a new look team against a school that is known for physicality, and that is Georgia Tech. And no disrespect to Brent Key, but 95% of the eyeballs on this game are going to be looking for things to either love or hate about the Colorado Buffaloes in 2025 and what is up with their roster. Because will Deion's spring absence with cancer, is that going to galvanize the team? Or are they going to look disorganized? And will there be a commitment to run the football by Colorado? And will we see, is it going to be Juju Lewis, or is it going to be Caden Salter at QB1 for Colorado, or might they both play? Because I'm watching this game, and I know that you will be too. The next thing I'm looking forward to, the 5th thing I'm looking forward to, I want to see what's up with these transfer saviors. What is up with these transfer saviors? Because both UCLA and Utah are desperate to prove that 2024 was an anomaly, and that both of those programs brought in quarterbacks to help them do it. Because UCLA landed Nico Iamaleava after a messy divorce with the Tennessee Volunteers. So you know the SEC fans are going to be hate watching this game and just paying attention to it just in general. Because that late game on Saturday night, they might be rooting for the Utes. And then you got Utah, who decided to scoop up the best athlete available as well. And that was New Mexico's offensive leader, Devin Dampier. And he is their quarterback now. And I got a chance to see him in spring ball. He looks electric. And Dampier rushed for 800 yards in his final 6 games last year. And he's looking at a UCLA defense that had all their linebackers head to the NFL. And it could be his opportunity to make his name on a much bigger stage than he did at New Mexico because the kid is electric. So, which one of those two quarterbacks is going to shine in their game, UCLA versus Utah? Now, the next thing, did Syracuse volunteer for an ass whooping? That's what I want to see because Fran Brown, their head coach, he has been a breath of fresh air for college football. I love his honesty. I love his candidness and everything else. And he has put Syracuse back on the map and has made them a legit contender in the ACC because of his ability to recruit and his high powered offense. So we're going to see Syracuse continue to trend up and up and up as long as the man is there. But he says he wants to stay for a long time. But, things can always change when the money come calling. But for now, we believe him. Now, look at what Tennessee did to NC State in 2024 in their opener because that sent the Wolfpack into a spiral. And I am going to be watching this game to see if Syracuse can withstand getting punched in the mouth because they don't have to win this game. But they can't go out to Atlanta and where Fran Brown is known and respected and get their ass whooped. They can't get punched in the mouth. They have to cover that 14.5 point spread. And I believe they will. The fourth to last, the hot seat roulette. Because one of the sneaky best games on the early slate is Baylor, who is hosting Auburn. You got Dave Aranda, who went into 2024 on the hot seat. But then you had Jake Spavital's offense and Sawyer Robinson quarterbacking actually help him live to fight another day. But it was ironic because their defense was terrible last year. And that's what Dave Aranda has and Baylor, since he's been there, have been known for. And now the expectation in Waco is that the offense will do its job, but that defensive-minded Dave Aranda has to hold up his end of the bargain for Baylor to exceed expectations this year. And they open up hosting Auburn, who has been recruiting like the 2010s Alabama lately, but doesn't have the wins to show for it. And they're actually better with Hugh Freeze than they were with Brian Harsin. He still has to prove that because the record says otherwise. And remember, you are not always what your record says you are. And this is exactly why that there is nothing like college football because you got, jobs, you got reputations and seasons being on the line literally in week one between two teams. Then neither one of them is even in the top 25, but that is a compelling matchup. So we're watching that. Next thing, can Thomas the next thing. Can Thomas Castellanos back up all the talk that he's been doing this offseason over there at Florida State? Because you got Mike Norvell. He, the head coach of Florida State, he brought in his old offensive guru, Gus Malzahn, and brought in Thomas Castellanos, transfer from Boston College. Brought them both in to Tallahassee because this team needed a shot of confidence. And those men are as confident as it gets. And honestly, this feels like some Diego Pavia talk that Thomas Castellanos has been doing all offseason. And Pavia got Vandy to believe. So maybe this is the exact thing that Florida State needs to believe on that level. Because Thomas Castellanos came out and was like, yo, ain't nobody scared of Alabama no more. They're not scared of Alabama anymore, not without Nick Saban. And now you got Florida State and you got Alabama playing to start the season in Doak Campbell Stadium down there at Florida State. And Alabama's a 2-touchdown favorite right now. Because people want to watch Florida State and Alabama just for the name value and the enthusiasm. But this one comes with some WWE stuff surrounding it. And one guy said that he was going to knock the other guy out in Thomas Castellanos, but we going to see if he's right. Next thing up, we got two more left. Brian Kelly versus slow starts. That's what I want to see because Brian Kelly hasn't won an opener since he's been at LSU. And do we think a night road game at Clemson is going to be the cure for that? What? My number one team in the nation? Mm-mm. Now, this is a game that have some predicted that could start and end the season. Like your boy, because it got my college football playoff. I predicted them to play at the beginning and at the end of the season as well in the college football playoff. Now, both of these quarterbacks, they could be Heisman finalists. And it is a long season. And depending upon the outcome of this game, oh, this is going to be absolutely a firestorm for Brian Kelly. Because if he can't open up this season with a win, it is going to literally take a trip to the national championship for us to stop talking about one of the best coaches in America like he is completely incapable of preparing his roster in the beginning of the season. The biggest thing, the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to in week 1 of college football is Arch Manning versus the champs, because I believe Arch Manning has reached the maximum level of overhype, which is why I believe that it is going to be hard for him to win the Heisman Trophy. But that's an aside, because at this rate, he is going to have to cure world cancer, solve hunger, and solve the Israel-Palestine beef, and throw 7 touchdowns on Caleb Downs in week 1 just to justify the amount of attention and hype that he's got leading into this season. Now, the real story in this game should be that the best player in college football, Jeremiah Smith, versus the best secondary in the country. But Arch storylines are actually sucking up the oxygen in the entire room. So that's the question. Can Arch live up to it? So those are all 10 things that I'm looking forward to in week 1 of college football. You guys make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, and tell a friend about the George Wrighster's college football show. And make sure that you come back, because we got the heat every single day. And we're live on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Peace out. Catch you guys later.